Hi there, I'm John Bowe and welcome to the first episode of JB's Advanced Track Day Tips. With me, I've got Bruce Morrison, who represents Maguire's and Mobile One. Welcome, Bruce. It's your show, but welcome.
Yes, mate. Thanks for the intro. All right, look, I thought it was a great time to catch up. It's the first episode of our new series for Advanced Track Day Tips. Typically, that's people who've had a reasonable amount of time in that beginner level or intermediate. We've all had to do that. I think it's important.
Well, we've covered the early days of track day experiences, which is I feel is a fantastic way for people to enjoy their motor car. But as you get better at it, of course, you want to go better and do more, and we'll talk about how you get better.
Would there be three key things? I love working in threes, JB, you know that about me, but I would have thought the first one was practice.
In track day terms, you can't have too much practice. I mean, if you could go to the track every day, you would continue to improve because you log all this information. You learn the track for a start, which doesn't take 5 minutes. You get better at it as you do more laps. You develop your senses to feel things in the car, to feel the tyre pressures, the brakes. I'm assuming here that you're using a road car, modified road car. Most people do in track day things. So it's just do as much as you can. You've got to do as much as you can, and if you can, go to different circuits. There's circuits all around Australia that actually do track days and hold track days for all sorts of cars and drivers. So don't be shy, get out there.
JB, when you're practicing, of course, you pick up things like where the best brake markers are for your car. I mean, you've talked about this before, where it's deceiving when you add a lot of speed that you're not used to.
Yes.
Judging where to brake is harder than it looks. So the more practice you get, I know as you said before, you'd creep up on a braking mark. You wouldn't try and guess it and stomp on the brakes. So it gives you braking. I know from my experience that road tyres, for example, and normal road brakes, for example, they may start off in practice and you do a few laps, but you notice 3, 4, 5 laps in how those brakes start to behave differently. The tyres definitely behave differently, but practice gives you a better sense of all these things too, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, if you're using a road car and road tyres, even R-spec tyres on certain abrasive tracks will taper. They call it now, it's a buzzword, tyre deg. But they do, and the brakes do too. Unless you've got a purpose-built race car, you develop sensors to tell you this stuff. That's why the practice part. If you jump in, do 5 laps, I mean, you can't take it all in. The information comes at you at such a rate that you just need to do quite a lot of it, Bruce.
I think also, right, you've got other cars on the track, and they're all doing their own thing. There might be a speed differential, there might be different experience levels.
You develop your sense of feel as well, and I mean, you learn to deal with traffic, because if ever you go motor racing, there's always traffic. So it's, for a safety factor, it's great to be able to develop these skills as well as make you go faster. It's not just about going faster, it's develop the skills to make you a better driver, so you can handle the speed better. The faster the car, the better driver you have to be. Like if you take it to a high level, Formula One, I mean, I can't imagine what those cars would be like to drive. They're so fast.
Insane, can be pretty sharp on that one. Reaction time too, doesn't it? So
yeah.
Practice also, the interesting conversations around proper racing simulators. And I'm a fan. I never used to be. I'm not a gamer. I'm too old to be a gamer, of course. But,
Me too.
When the last COVID lockdowns, when we were all confined indoors and there was no motorsport, we bought one. But I found them incredibly good for practice. When you set the simulator up, at a racetrack, for example, if you're a track day guy, right? I mean, you can only ever get handfuls of laps per each session. Usually it's 6, 7 laps per session. The car
15, 20 minute sessions.
Exactly. The car won't take overload of driving for 2 hours straight. So a simulator I found incredibly beneficial One, to get used to the track, so you knew which way the corners were going before you arrived there. But also you can do hundreds of laps on the simulator.
A fantastic learning tool, no question. I mean, I think as a learning tool, there's no equal really, to be honest. I would highly recommend it.
It's a great bit of kit to get these days.
So a lot of the current supercar drivers, you know, they're all quite young. They do it. They race against people around the world. So not only is it good for your track day skills, it's actually, you know, quite a competitive environment. So by all means, if you can afford one, get one.
Yeah. So, mate, I guess the second part, if we looked at practice being a key element, the coaching is a key element of this. And some people welcome it and some people think they're already good enough to not worry about it. But I'd say anyone that's actually a good driver gets up to advanced level of capability. I can't think of anyone who hasn't been coached to get there.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, any sport, golf, football, cricket, whatever, everybody uses coaches. And it's only in the last, I guess, decade that coaching of driving has become a bit more prevalent. But it is essential to get better, to have a coach that's credentialed. You know, I mean, there's quite a lot of them, as you know, around the country that do it, and most of them have done quite a lot of racing. Most of them are quite good at their craft, so you can save many hours of track time by having somebody that's credentialed sit next to you and go, look, you're not pushing the brake pedal correctly, or your steering input is not right, or you know, you're not doing the gear changes as you should do them. And a coach will pick that very quickly. So yes, most definitely. It's just one of those things. You want to be better at it, you know, get some coaching and do some laps. We're trying to make it simple here, not complicated.
The third point, I think, in this improved high-speed driving skills is a newer thing, data. Look, it's something you grew up, we all grew up without much data. The data was the speedo and the tacho, about how many revs you did.
And the seat of your pants.
Yeah, and you just had to get brace that.
I did lots of racing without data, and then I was part of the early years of data, which grew and grew. And there's no question that it's the best coaching tool, really. Even better than practice, even better than coaching. It is just, if you have a form of data, the many different forms you can have, from simple to quite complex like this car's got, it just helps you so much to identify your faults or where you're losing time or what you're doing wrong. The more complex the data, the more you can see, because you know, with this car you can see steering angles, brake pressures, all sorts of things. You don't get that on a simple phone app. But even so, a phone app is pretty handy for your early days of advanced track days.
I think the data is one of the key new elements of better, faster driving, don't you think? Because I notice even when you've got a coach in the car, even a coach right beside you can't see everything you're doing.
No,
especially say with your feet or whatever it is. They're listening to engine sound and certain things, but you've got a helmet on, so you can't always hear, you can't always have the conversation you want sometimes, both wearing helmets. So I think the data gives you that at the end of it. Okay, these are your two corners that you're losing a big chunk of the time, and you can then just focus on
the
those
two corners. Yes.
Right?
So you don't need 12 points in your head the next time you get in a car that I've got to go this and this and this, and it's too much. There's lots of forms of data, but you know, once you start doing advanced track days, you need to look at having some form of data, whether it be an app on your mobile phone or you know, a V-Box, which I've got in my TCM car, which synchronises with a camera, and you can make that as elaborate or as simple as you like. So have in your mind though that it's a really good tool,
Yeah.
So I hope you've got some good info from that. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. JB's Advanced Track Tips.